You don't have anger issues. You have unhealed patterns. And if something small sets you off, it's not random, it's memory. Today, we're talking about triggers and what they're telling you.
Yeah, because people love to say that's just how I am, and it's like, no, that reaction didn't just come out of nowhere.
Okay, before we get into it, life update. What's been going on with you?
I feel like so much. Oh my god. So most recently, as you know, but everyone else does not know, I went to Mexico. Dylan and I celebrated my 39th birthday. We were there for 6 days. We went to Puerto Costa Maya, had the most amazing time, had a Mayan healing ritual experience, had a local chocolate tasting experience. I got to explore the beaches, got to see some iguanas, have the best tacos of my life, explore what it was like to be a local and what the Mayan culture was like. We got to see some Mayan ruins. We really had the best time of my life. And I've been to Italy and France and Spain, but for some reason, like I felt so connected to Mexico. And I took so much of that back home with me. And I just felt like renewed and excited. And then we got right off the boat. We went to Universal Epic and spent my birthday there with Renee and Dylan and had the most amazing time there. And then we came home for one day. I went right back to work and worked all week. I was sick one of the days, and now I'm here and I'm excited to be back. We are back at season 2. And Tiffany, I want to know all about you and what you've been up to and give everyone all the deets.
Well, first off, I'm just so excited to be back for season 2, and I just wanna say I'm just so proud of us for season 1 and just how everything kinda came about, and it was just, like, planned and we were prepared because, as all of you guys know, we're just doing this, right? And we're learning as we go, and I'm just, like, thinking, like, "Dang, season 2, what?" Like, okay, I just wanted to, give us our flowers for a little bit. But I love that first off, you know this already, but I love what you did as far as like the ritual. We'll have to get more into that because I want to
Mm,
know some details on what
yes.
all that entails for
Hmm.
sure. I'm like trying to think back because I know last time we left off, you were going to Mexico, but I'm like, there's so much that's happened
I know.
between them. But I'm going to stick to what's going on right now. Today is actually Don and I's third anniversary. We celebrated yesterday and we went to with Chris and just had a good time and like connected. And we've been going through a lot just these past almost 2 years with moving to North Carolina. Like, the transition has been crazy, and we haven't really been stable because, when we moved here, we were living with my mother-in-law, then we got the apartment, and then we're only just now, like, getting it decorated, and it's starting to feel like home. So, we're finally getting to a place where we feel like we can breathe again, and it was such a great moment because this weekend, I just was, like, reminded of, like, why I fell in love with Don and just how well he knows me, and I literally said to him, I was like, "Oh, welcome back." Like, and it just reminded me of, like, I was doing this reflection of our relationship and what's something that I'm most proud of, and I think what I'm most proud of is, like, how we make up. Like, we are both pretty, straightforward people and kind of don't really back down. Like, what we believe is what we believe, but we're
Passionate.
also very yeah, passionate. We're also very open and transparent too, and we're willing to delve into the other's emotions and kind of put ourselves in the other's shoes. So it makes it so that we are able to make up relatively quickly and just kind of bounce back. But it's hard because we've been just going through some things, and it was really that great moment to feel like, you know what? This is what relationships are all about. Like, the only way out is through working through your issues, working together towards something. So for us, it was really just a good moment to be like, dang, like we did it. We did a lot of hard things, a lot of life stressors that tear people apart and to make it out on the other side and feel really good about the things that are coming for the future and just feeling actually positive about it when before we'd been so down about it. So it feels good to kind of be coming out of that. The girls are coming for summer and Kylie's going to prom next weekend. So I'll be in Florida. You and I are going to get to link up to do a, photo shoot for
Yes.
the podcast. And then graduation and just like a lot of good positive things coming up, a lot of cha-ching coming up. So I need to chill out for a little bit. But really good positive things. So just excited for what's on the horizon.
That's awesome. Well, happy third to you and
Thank you.
Don. That's amazing. I love anniversaries because they're so reflective, right? Like we get to really spend that quality time together, and hopefully it's spent. Not, I mean, obviously you guys had a great time, but I can't say I've always had the best anniversaries with my past partners, and
Good.
obviously they're past partners for a reason now, but anniversaries should be celebrated and they should be happy and they should be, like I said, reflective. But I also think that they should make efforts to go forward and to do differently on year 4 and 5 and 6, 7, whatever, until the end of time. And I think the anniversary is a good time to like recalibrate and go, wow, okay, let's talk about what we have, what we did together last year, what we didn't like together last year, and then what we want to do together so we do like who we are next year. And I love that
Right.
for you guys.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did. It was like, okay, like I had asked like what was your favorite memory from last year, like this past year and what we've done and things like that and what are you looking forward to? And obviously we're getting married this year, so that was something that we're looking forward to and just wanting to plan a family vacation and just really blend our lives and life is just about to change again because I think I've shared this before but we are going to be going through like fertility treatments and things like that with the hopes of having an hours baby, so just a lot to look forward to and it's like finally I'm seeing that. I think I said this in season 1 where my mom had came to my house and was like, hey, pull up your blinds, you have this beautiful view, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never noticed how pretty the view was. And so now I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I never noticed how much I have to be grateful for. And it's like I noticed it, yes, but it's like now I'm in a place where I can finally just like appreciate it and not focus on so much of the things that I don't have, but what I do have.
I know. I 100% am in the same space. I take a lot of shit for granted, and especially a lot of shit that I guess create in my life. Like for example, I'm now into books. I never really read in my entire life. I always thought reading was a time waste, and I thought reading was a waste of space for all these things for books. And now you got to buy a bookshelf, and you got to dust them, and you got to keep them in good condition. I made the whole drama out of a book production, like it didn't need to be there. But then I was like, oh my
Very.
god, there's so many things that I could tap into now that I'm in this like creative realm, and especially doing this podcast and. We're now in season 2 and moving forward. And I'm just like, gosh, how else can I get creative? And books are so versatile in that space, and you could pick whatever you want out of any genre. And even if you're reading something, somebody that's reading the same book as their friend might have a completely different story in their head because of how they imagined it, and that excites me, and it never did before. And I'm like, oh my god, I need all the books, and I'm getting a little crazy with my bipolar and my maniac. So I went and I bought all the Harry Potter books, I bought all the Hunger Games, I bought the Magician's book, I bought the Dark.
What? You're supposed to just go one at a time.
Girl, look, I'm a
You can't read all
completionist,
those
and
books at
I know, but
once.
I'm like, look, they're on sale. Like, I talk myself into this. I'm like, basically, they're free. It's half off. It's
Oh,
free.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So,
I get it.
and then I bought the Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, the 7 book in 1 collection, the collector's edition or whatever the fuck. I was like, look, if I'm gonna get the series I'm gonna go hard. So that's what I
You really
did.
go in on a hobby.
I really do. I need to really reel it in though, because like
Like
you, cha-ching in, I need to fucking
yeah,
stop. I need to really dial
dude.
down.
But we did that too with the podcast stuff. Like, we were like, "Okay, let's get it, get it, get it." And it's like that's part of bipolar though, as you said. It's like this instant gratification. We get this high from it. And then sometimes it's like I'm getting so many packages that like I don't even think I appreciate them. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And Don even will be like, "You're not excited about the new thing you just got?" And I'm like, "I mean, yeah, I needed it." And I guess in my head, I'm like, "Well, it's been in my cart for forever, so I've been planning on doing X, Y, and Z." And so it's just yeah, and this is why we gotta take our meds, and, I wanna say, like, I was talking to you about this, but, like, Sid, who's gonna be coming on, I'm super excited for you guys to just listen to her. She's a wealth of knowledge, but, she was talking to me about my medication and things like that, and she was like, "Girl, you gotta get back on this. Like, this is why you're feeling this way." And I was like, "Feeling like what?" And I was like, "What? Is that me?" And she was like, "Yes, that is you." And I'm like, "That's fair. That's a good assessment. Okay, fine. I'll get back on." But I was like, I gotta talk to my psychiatrist, and now I gotta tell her that I haven't been on in 3 months, and I don't want to tell her that because I feel ashamed, and now I gotta have a tough conversation, and I'm just sick of the world making me have to have tough conversations. I'm over it, even though this podcast is about having tough conversations, but it's really hard.
I do want to know, since we're about to dive deep and we already are diving deep right off the jump, what made you stop taking the meds in the first place? Because you were an avid med taker up until the point of not. So I'm interested to hear what that looked like.
Mm, Actually, no, I'm pretty consistent with not being on my meds. Like, I'm
Oh, okay.
pretty like, I'll get on, I get off, I get on, I get off. And like, to be honest, I don't even know if I've ever had an opportunity to fully have them work because I'm not consistent. If I don't feel an instant shift, if I feel like, nah, like this is what I would have did before, it's to me, it's like it's not working.
Mm,
And it's this constant like battle. And I'm like, okay, I have to give it a try. I have to give it a try. But it takes 4 to 6 weeks to like kick in. And I'm like, I want this now. I want the instant gratification now. And so, I get off and I don't recommend it. I know it's not the right thing to do. And now I got to get back on because I can't just get back on my medication I'm at 40 milligrams. I'd have to go back. I have to tritate down in order
yeah.
to tritate back up, which is what makes it so complicated when you're working with bipolar meds is because, it's not just as simple as let me take this pill again. I gotta talk to my psychiatrist, get a new med, take it down. So it's just like a lot goes into that. And I'm just like kind of kicking myself for getting to that point again.
Don't kick yourself too hard because all you can do is move forward. And if you're going to keep trying, then you didn't find the right med, obviously, or maybe you didn't have the right prescription or the right cocktail of it all, or the right psychiatrist. Whatever it is, you're in the right place because you're like, look, I can see that there's some change needing done here, and the people in my circle are also now telling me, hey, girl, you need some help here. And you're going, look, I'm willing to give this a try. So that's huge. And now you're talking about it and admitting it on a podcast, like even bigger. So yeah, we need to give you some kudos there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
you're like, I don't do that. But let's get into this because I feel like this one is going to hit people a little harder than they expect. And maybe even a little harder than we expect, as just it already happened to us already. When people hear triggered, they immediately think someone's being dramatic or too sensitive. All right, Josh. So, when's the time you reacted to something and later had the moment like, yeah, that didn't make any sense. That wasn't even about what we were talking about.
Damn. I feel like I do that so often that it's hard to decipher
I
which
knew you were
one
going
is
to say that.
monumental. I'm much more regulated now, but I feel like the old me has got a lot to say about that. Let me just try to pick one out of that little hat real quick. There was a moment where I had a friend, and this friend had said something to me when I was on vacation. And what they said to me shouldn't have absolutely set me off the way it did. It was something along the lines of like I wasn't being appreciative of someone else's birthday. And I essentially was the one that took care of that trip. I bought the hotel, I paid for the
I got a question
gas.
though. What do you
Yeah.
mean by I wasn't being appreciative of someone else's birthday? Like appreciative of like them being alive or
No, I was on a vacation with one of my friends and my husband, and we were going on this vacation, and Dylan could not make up his mind. He kept asking the group like what we wanted to do. Do you want to go out? Do you want to go out to dinner? Do you want to go back to the hotel? Do you want to walk around town? And I kept saying it's your birthday. Well, he kept asking because he's a people pleaser. And I said, look, if you're really truly asking my opinion, I don't want to go out, but I will do whatever you want to do. It's your damn birthday. But quit asking me because I don't want to give my opinion because I will do literally whatever you want to do, whether I like it or not, but I'm going to have a good time. So let's do it. And then my friend that was with us was like, oh, well, you're ruining his fun because you were trying to control his birthday and his decisions or something like that. And I completely lost my shit. Yes, I still felt like I had the right to be angry because that
I
comment
was gonna say
was very hurtful
inappropriate.
to me in the moment. And I know this person is a listener and a fan of the podcast. So They're gonna hear this and know it's them, but I'm not gonna call the name. It's over, it's done with, we've already moved on. But it's an example because you asked and I'm honest. But I'm also owning my shit, right? Because I completely like went off the chain. I was swearing. I like ran away from everyone in the middle of the street. Like I was so out of line in my reaction, especially since it's my husband's birthday. And now I'm doing the exact thing in which she said I was doing. Even though to start, I wasn't doing that. I really had to own that after the fact and say sorry to both of them. Like, yes, you pissed me off. However, wow, I'm a fucking mess. That's not the right way to react. That's not the right thing to say. And I could have really held it in at a different time. But at the time, I didn't know I was mentally ill with this. So I didn't understand that this was me and how I was going to react or how I should react. I just knew that this is how I felt. This is what I'm going to do. And then immediately after I come down, I was like, oh, fuck, this is not cool. But again, you can't control that shit until after the fact. You're self aware, but then we have to dial it back to do this analysis piece, analysis paralysis to be able to move forward.
And then now we have this system of shame and guilt. Like, you know this, we've had this conversation, and it's like, damn, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And then now, even if we were right, even if the point that we were trying to make was an accurate one, was a fair one, was a valid one, it no longer holds any weight because how we delivered the message is the only thing that now anyone, including myself or including yourself, can focus on because it was so big. And so now it's like, dang, your point just gets lost. So you lose the argument. It's like, a lawyer going in and just completely unprepared and ex acting off of emotion and expecting to win a case.
Yeah.
And it's not about winning a case, please don't come at me for that, right? It's not about winning a case, but a lot of the times we do that because we get frustrated when we're not seen or we're not heard or we feel like someone is gaslighting us or making us out to be something that we're not, especially because you and I both tend to be very giving people. So we're like, "What? What do you mean? I'm trying to be there for this person." And so that ability to not be able to regulate it causes it to heighten. But then again, I have these conversations and Don will be honest with me and he'll be like, "Yeah, but your ability to be able to take your medication is on you, right?"
Yeah.
And so I have to own that. I have to be like, "You know what? No, I'm not doing what I need to do." And it's frustrating because it's like if I'm thinking from like just a standpoint of obviously we don't want to have those triggers cause us to blow up and then just think that we can blame, well, I was triggered, so that's why I did that. Because no, that's not okay. Like you have to learn how to deal with it and figure out how to fix your triggers so that you're not blowing up because people don't deserve that, number one. And number two, I mean, dang, I probably could have won that argument if I didn't blow up. I mean, again, I'm a Capricorn, so like that is kind of what I think about sometimes.
But we know that being right, it comes with a cost, and we've talked about this in the season 1, and it all ties back into what we're talking about, because all these little pieces of these episodes that we're bringing all of you audience members out there is that, you know, there's not just one way to answer these questions, but I did give you my way of how I answered this, and now I'm gonna flip it back to you and make you spill some tea about you.
No. This is what happens. I was like, why do I keep having to have these uncomfortable conversations? And it's like, well, you prompted this. You created connected conversations and then you decided to do this. And then now I'm like, why did I decide to do that? But I think for me, I can't well, I have really too many, honestly. But I would say I'll just take kind of a simple one, right? Not
Yeah.
anything that has to be too big because I don't want people to think that it has to be like huge outbursts and things like that. It could just be a simple snap that was just completely unnecessary. So there was something that was like left on the counter and I had just cleaned the counter and I was like, what the fuck? Why is this here? That was it. Don's like, "What happened?" And I immediately, like, checked myself, and I was super proud because I was just like, That was uncalled for. Too late though, right? Because I yelled, I cussed, and now the mood's kinda off. It was like a good Sunday vibe, and now I flipped because of something being on the counter. And it's like, honestly, I can't tell you what exactly my trigger was, right? Like, so what? Something being on the counter? It wasn't even like a big thing, a lot. There has been time where there has been a lot, so I think sometimes what happened is just, like, past times where I didn't act on something or I didn't say something, they'll come out at random times, and I'll use those as an excuse to kind of, "Okay, now here's I'm building up my case with triggers from the past that I never brought up to you, that I never talked about, but I've been holding in, and now I'm mad, and now this one little thing happened, and now I wanna go off."
Is there a specific trigger that you had that you used to let it take over your reactions before you really understood what it was?
You know what? So many things triggered me before I really knew what it was. I mean, like, I had an ex that was living with me, and this was when I was, I think I was like 20, 22. My mom was like really pissed. I did not tell her that he was living with me because she would have been mad. And when I did tell her, she was mad. But anyway, um, he wasn't working at the time. I was working, and he was coming home and playing video games, and he didn't take the chicken out the freezer. Lost it. I mean, like, lost my shit. Clearly, it wasn't the chicken out of the freezer, but in that moment, I understood why my mom would go off on me when we didn't take the fricking chicken out the fricking freezer. I was like, "I'm working," like, what it was like a realization, and I think my trigger was that I was disappointed with myself that I allowed that to happen. So, a lot of the times, my triggers come from, like, projections. Like, I'm seeing something in someone that maybe I do that I don't like, and I'm defending myself. Or something reminded me of how I was treated, like breadcrumbing or kind of giving love, taking love back, giving love, taking love back. When I see those, I'm triggered. Or gaslighting, saying, "Oh, you're too sensitive," or "It didn't happen like that," or "That's not the correct way. That's not how you see it." And it's like, perception is reality. Do not tell me that my reality is not accurate. So,
100%.
my main trigger, I would think, is like, honestly, any insulting my intelligence. Like, I'm just, you know what I mean? And these are things that at one point I felt like was just my personality. So I just was like, I don't like this about myself. And, I was talking to Sid and Dawn the other day when she was like saying about, you need to get back on your medication. And I really had like a really tough moment where she was like, why do you like go off your medication? Kind of like what you just asked, right? And I didn't fully answer the question at that point, and I shared with her something that I don't think I even realized until, like, yesterday when we talked about it, and I was just like, "I think that I'm scared that if I do take the medication for however long and I allow for it to work, I'm scared that what if it doesn't work and it's not that I'm bipolar, and really it's just that it's my personality and, I'm just an asshole." And, Don was there listening and he was like, "Whew, okay. That's some realness. That's a perspective that I didn't think about, right?" Because I'm like, well, I don't want to flip or get mad over every little thing or allow my triggers to change the mood, change the environment. I'm a person who is very energy heavy, right? I feel other people's energy, and people can very much easily feel my energy. And so it's not even if I blow up or not blow up. It's just my energy shift in general. It's like even if I don't go off, I'm still triggered and it still affected my day, my time, my relationships with the people around me because now the energy is off. So that was something that we, talked about when we had our guest on Darcy, where I was talking about like, hey, I really need things to actually change, right? Because I'm seeing these things and I wanna make sure that I address them and change, but I do realize, like, I have to give the medication a chance to work and kinda put that fear to bed, knowing that I put in the time, effort, energy to making sure that I show up how I need to show up in this world for myself and for other people because that's how much I genuinely love the people that are around me in my circle that I for whether it be my bonus kids, my friends, my relationship, my family around me. Like I want to be able to show up in a good, authentic way. And when there are times where I know I have not shown up well, those sit with me maybe a little longer than they should. And I feel this shame that kind of helps to aid in my want to avoid.
The one thing that I took from that is that your worry about if this medication doesn't work, if you're still the same person, but whether you take the medicine or not, like you're never going to know because either you're going to be that asshole, or B, you try not to be the asshole and you're maybe a little less of an asshole. So A, you get to be the asshole, or B, you might not be an asshole anymore, or your assholiness might be diminished. And I think the diminished assholiness is what we need in the energy of the
Diminish
vibes. You
as
know what I mean?
holiness.
We need diminished assholiness. And I think we need to bring back Shred It from season one. Let's get that back in town. Why
I
not?
love that actually. Shred this idea that it's not going to magically fix and shred the idea that we need to be fixed, right? We just need to continue to work to build ourselves up, right? I don't think that we're ever done growing and healing and learning and moving forward. And with that being said, I just want to know, do you think people avoid really looking at their triggers? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And now you got to take accountability, kind of like what I did. I delved really deep into what that root trigger was. Do you think that that's something that we typically avoid, or do you typically avoid, rather?
Well, I think people in general, yes, I think as a culture, America is very narcissistic in the age of social media. So I think we have this big front to put on. Everyone has to be perfect. We need to present well. We have to be at the top of our game. We got to keep leveling up, level up, level up. So I think that like we do stop that to a sense of a degree. Now, do I? No, I don't think I necessarily do. I think that I'm pretty well kept at bay on that. Now, I do kinda wanna take it back to the trigger piece, though, because there's something I have to admit, and I don't and maybe I need your help there, maybe the audience can chime in here too. There's 2 triggers that I just cannot get control over. One of them is if somebody says the 3-letter F word, fag. If someone says fag or faggot, I see red. Like I will fight somebody. It's like I become this, I don't even know, this advocate, this warrior, this beast that wants to just be like, you know what, that's not okay. You're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to call me that. I don't know who you think you've gotten away with that in the past, but it's not going to be me today. And then also the smell of alcohol. And I know that's insane, but my ex that I was with for 10 years was a massive raging alcoholic, and I would smell it from a mile away. Every single time he was drunk, I could smell it, and it would make me sick, it would give me anxiety, it would put me in a place of panic, and I don't drink, like, really ever because of that, and I don't really talk about that a lot because that's really hard to talk about, and now that I'm talking through this, it kind of holds me accountable because Dylan had a work function this last week and he came home and he had a couple drinks and he drove home. He was fine. He was safe. I didn't think anything was in a safety factor, like to worry about, I should say. But I could smell the alcohol on him immediately. And I got angry. I got distant. I got defensive. I got resentful. He did zero things wrong to me. All he did was drink. But that took me back to all the times that I would come home from work and there would be burning food on my stove. My dogs wouldn't go out all day long and there'd be shit and piss all over my floors. My ex would be just drunk, passed out with his neck cocked and cigarettes all over the apartment. Smelled like a bingo hall in there. Just TV blaring, music all over the like just you name it, it was a disaster. And that was like my daily life. So when I smell alcohol or I see someone altered in the state where they're like losing control, and I want to be clear, Dylan was not in that place. So he did not deserve the way I was acting, but I couldn't help it. And I even like vocalized it to him. I said, something about the way you smell right now, like I just have to back away. And it's nothing you've done wrong, but I got to take this moment and step out of this room because it's making me literally triggered. And he didn't get it. He's like, I just had one drink. I'm like, you don't, I know you would understand if you weren't in an abusive relationship with an alcoholic, but the smell of vodka and liquor and beer, like it just makes me sick and it gives me this panicky feeling like I'm in a ball and I wanna just stay there forever in the dark until it's over. And I know that that's insane and intense for that type of smell or the reaction to be placed with that smell, but, that's real shit, and that's something I've been working through in therapy for the last 10 years.
No, I mean, I don't think that that's odd, actually. I think that's a reaction that I've heard from people who deal with those type of traumas before. But I think if anything, you should really kind of give yourself some flowers for how you handled that because you recognized it right away and you apologized it for right away and was like, hey, I just need some space from you because this is triggering me. Like you were able to recognize the trigger in the moment. And sometimes, a lot of the times, we don't recognize the trigger until after we've said whatever we said. You know what I mean? At least you were quiet, right? Like, so something that I was told was like, walk away, go on a walk, go take a shower before you respond. So I think, you really just kind of deserve a little. You did a good job. So I just want to first point out that. And then, if you don't mind, I just wanted to go back a little bit just to reference what you said about, when someone says the word fag, like, of course, you're going to be triggered with that. And I don't think that's something that you should be like, oh, I don't want to be triggered by that. Because no, like, you should be triggered by that. Because I think that we are so desensitized in this world that we are not triggered by a lot of shit we should be triggered by. And when it comes to, if people say things to me about like, I'll have people who'll ask me like certain things because I'm black, so they'll think that I should know this, or they'll all of a sudden they're talking about Snoop Dogg, and I'm like, do you really? Why did that come into play, right? And these are things that do trigger me and do enrage me, but every single day I'm desensitized to them because they happen all the time. These small little microaggressions here, small little microaggression there, and then it just builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then now I go off, right? But that
Yeah.
was just for the 80 million times that I didn't. So honestly, I know I should probably say like, no, don't go off, but like, fuck that. I just feel like at this time it's suffocating to have to continuously stuff down how we feel and just accept this desensitized world because we need to present a certain type of way. We need to continue to be the bigger person. I understand that that's life, and we do have to do that because we have life and careers, and there are consequences that we cannot be a part of. I understand that, but I can completely and totally understand why you would want to crash out in a safe way. That person doesn't deserve the conversation. Give them a dirty look, go about your way, crash out when you get home, crash out on the podcast, talk to people, get people talking about this, have a conversation and allow people to feel their feelings and feel how they feel without having to stuff them down. And that is how you work through that need to kind of go all out, right? Because we can't go all out because we don't want anything bad to happen to us. But you work it out. You talk to your friends about it. You have real conversations. You say, yeah, that shit pisses me off because it should. And it should not be accepted. And it should not just be something that we have to say, "Oh, I have to crash out and deal with that at home." No, it shouldn't. But that is
I don't know why I'm
sorry.
crying. I know, like, I don't know why, like, what you just said made me feel this way, I know why. It's because you're right, like, all of these feelings have been held in since I've been 13 and thought I was gay, you know? And now we got to a place when gay marriage was legalized and we got to like breathe a little bit. Like we still had the uproar because everyone still sucks, but there was still so many people that were fighting and that were advocates and they were allies. And we had a lot of people fighting for us. And then something changed. And to your point, like, yes, the sensitivity became like such a cultural norm in this country. Now we're back to hate. And every day, I'm scared. I'm scared of holding my husband's hand in the street, which I've never been scared of before. I'm scared of sitting in front of a client and them going, "Oh, you have a wedding ring on. What's your wife's name?" And me going, "Her name is Dylan." And them looking at me with disgust. Like, I'm so incredibly sick and tired of people acting like they are better or their kind is the way of the land. Like, you know what? Next time somebody has the slightest thing to say to me, it might be crashing out because I can't feel hurt anymore. Like, this is the hurt I'm releasing on this episode today. And I never thought I would cry. So thank you. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I don't. I mean that in a genuine way. Like, apparently I needed that and I didn't mean to need that, but I did. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because here I am, and I'm like, "I heard you," and I pick up on you know how I'll go like, "Okay, I hear this," and then I'm like, "Oh, that's it. That's the like, this is it," and I'm like, "You said that for a reason," and I wanna just, like, dig in and let you know, like, you are seen and you are heard, and you do deserve to feel how you need to feel, and it is okay that it's feels suffocating to have to have those conversations or to have to accept it or to have to feel like I don't know, for me, and I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but I know for me sometimes when I let things slide that I don't want to, or when I have to have a conversation to ease a situation where I know that it's fueled by bigotry or hate, it feels like I'm swallowing a knife, like I'm betraying myself
Hmm.
or like I'm a sellout. And sometimes just waking up and going about life knowing everything that's going on and where the world is, but smiling and living my life and trying to enjoy it makes me feel like a fraud.
Yeah. Because there's part of me that when they ask that question about the ring and they say, "What's my wife's name?" An easy part of me could go, Dana, just for the sake of not having to deal with it. And I'm not going to lie. I've done that just because I have helped a 92-year-old person and I don't want to deal with it. And, they're not going to agree with you because of the way they were raised, so it's just easier to just act like you are the person they want you to be. But then I am really starting to have this like mental and like spiritual and self cleanse, especially after my Mayan healing ritual. Like, I just feel like I have so much to get off my chest and to just heal from. I don't get tomorrow guaranteed. You don't get tomorrow guaranteed. The audience doesn't get tomorrow guaranteed. But I get right now guaranteed. And I want to do something different with right now. I think we all need to do something different with right now. I think we all could do a little more of that.
And I think we all could do a little bit more of having these conversations. You know what I mean? I feel like these conversations are healing to be like, hey, you okay? No, I'm not because this happened and I had to swallow that shit. And I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? And sometimes there are people who do not have other people to be able to talk to about these things. And that's what baffles me. But I wanted to go back because you brought up the Mayan ritual again. So, can you tell the audience a little bit more about that? What did you do? How did you feel after? Like, just give a little bit more detail.
Oh, I would absolutely be honored to. So it was something that I read about and I was like, "Oh god, is this just like another, cash grab for these tourists that are at the ports?" But
Right.
I'm like, "No, what? I need to be positive about this because it had good reviews and I'm a review believer. I give it a chance if it looks good." We get there and we're walking in this like hut. It's a little bit shorter than me because I'm a tall dude. I'm 6'2", and I'm having to duck a little bit. We get this initiation ceremony and they start breaking apart herbs. They let us smell rosemary and basil, lemongrass, and they explain like why in Mayan culture these are important elements for healing. And then as we look in front of us, there is these like just vines and bamboo and just colors of different flowers, and you hear water flowing, and there is these concrete handmade baths, and ask you to feel them, so you feel the temperature, and it's nice, and it's not hot, it's like nice and lukewarm, like completely comfortable. They place a towel over your face, they have somebody come behind you, and now mind you, there's like 6 or 7 baths in a row, so there's like only a limited amount of people that can do these groups.
Okay.
They're massaging your head, they're massaging your neck, and next thing you know, you're getting up and you're going to the next part of it, and you have this clay mask experience. And they explain why clay in Mayan culture is good for your face and good for your skin and good for healing. There's just spiritual aspects of it that it's supposed to help you break apart the things that are toxins. And then once you cleanse them with natural running water,
Mm,
it's supposed to just wash away. So once we were done with that, we get into this hut, and it was a natural sauna. We actually had a real organic Mayan shaman. And he just starts asking each person
what
in this group,
is
why are you here to cleanse? We all said why. And it came to me, and I said, I just need to do different. I need something that is going to give me clarity because I've done therapy, I've done medicine, I've done everything you can think of. I need this. And he was like, thank you. Like that was it, just a simple thank you. And they're not really people of a lot of words in this culture, but thank you just meant a lot from me to him. It was like we had a special understanding in that moment. So then we're going through this, and they ask you to take what's negative in your life and take it and pinch it and throw it into this flame. So we do that, and we're all pinching and throwing it into the flame. And then, of course, you have to stop the feeling of silliness because you're there to really take in what they think helps you and what we believe is going to help us, or else why are we doing it if we don't believe it? You have to believe this process for it to work. So we're all passing on this energy into this flame. And then he says, okay, now we got to scream it because the soul needs to be released. So now we're all screaming at the top of our lungs, just, ah! And we do that 3 times in a row. And it's like a 5 to 10 minute, like, I don't know, God, that would be terrible for our vocal cords, 5 to 10 second elongated scream 3 times in a row. And then when we are done with that, we get up, we go to a coconut bath ritual where we sit in this bath with coconut water and palm leaves and rose petals in the bath. Another person comes in and does another shoulder massage and face massage, takes the coconut water and pours it on your neck and your chest and your face, massages your face a little bit, and then you get up and you walk over, you dry up, and then you go to a hammock. And there's this row of hammocks, and locals get you in this hammock in this awkward positions. And then finally, they start taking you and they wheel you on their lap. And I had this very short, probably 60-plus-year-old woman just beating the shit out of my back, like literally punching it from
okay?
behind
The
and getting me
visual,
on
you
her lap. I was like, ooh, I like my ass
Josh.
getting
Oh my
kicked a little bit.
gosh.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, this
Okay.
is fun.
All
This is
right.
cool. So let me
Okay.
tell you, and then we are done with that, which was an amazing experience. They call it the Mayan ritual hammock massage, mystical hammock massage, excuse me. And then we got to go to the beach, the shore. There was iguanas. They had like 2 foot tall margaritas. Everyone there was amazing. The locals were so friendly, and everyone on the cruise was so friendly and amazing. And just it was just so literally healing. If you get a chance to do it when you're in Mexico, you need to do a Mayan healing ritual, and you'll just take your soul and cleanse the shit out of it.
Listen, I definitely need something to take my soul. But anyway, that sounds beautiful. I mean, and it was so much too. Sometimes I feel like, when you go on these cruises and things like that, they'll do this ritual and it's like a money grab, right? Like you said, and it's not this
Yeah.
like intricate thing, but yours really was. And that's what I need. I need some type of like healing something. So, whoever is out there listening, if you do like, little getaways, healing ritual getaways somewhere, please let us know. We would love to talk to you and have you on and find out about it. I was looking at a retreat. I think it's in North Carolina and it's women owned and black owned. And I was looking at it with my cousin. So we were thinking about going. And now that you're sharing this, I'm like, okay, this is about to be something that I add to my priority list to book. It may not be this year because, cha-ching, but
Cha-ching.
definitely something, right? Cha-ching. Definitely something that I want to make sure that I do. It just feels like it's just needed, at least once in your lifetime experience. But I wanted to kind of just to wrap up and just kind of get an idea from you, from your perspective, what you think others might get from this. So, if someone's listening right now and they're like, okay, I can kind of see myself in this, what do they actually do?
I would say that they get realness out of this episode, and I think they need to get self-awareness out of this episode because your trigger will expose the shit out of you if you let it control you. Self-awareness isn't gonna fix it. It helps you, it helps with the process, but actionable steps need to be taken in order for you to truly heal and for everyone else to be able to heal and deal with you around them.
Mhm.
So I hope that's what we take away from this on my perspective.
I completely agree. And I think also just making sure that those actionable steps can be something as simple as like getting I was looking for it, but getting, a cute pill bottle to get you motivated to, take your medication. You know how people get new workout gear to motivate them to go to the gym. It is the same thing. You know what I mean? Treating your mental illness and how you treat people and how you show up in the world, you need to put in action just like you would do to take care of yourself, to eat right, to work out, to get that degree. You have to put in actionable steps. And that's what I hope that people take away, as well. And once you really start understanding your triggers, you also start realizing why you stay in things you probably shouldn't.
You know, that kind of ties into next week because next week we're going to be talking about are you passionate or are you just obsessing? And I think we kind of touched on that a little bit today with some of the things we obsess about with our triggers.
I
So
know.
that's going to be an extended version of today just
It's
to get
all
you started off
aligned
on season
anyway.
2. I see what you did there. But
There we
bum.
go.
Well, that's a good place to wrap it up. Everybody, we appreciate you and everything that you do. Go out there and make a difference.
See you in the next one. Good night.